What I went ahead and did is created a few more asset sprites for the different things I want in my game. So this one is very cool that I made. It's basically a button. So I have text in the front and I have two backgrounds for when it turns off and on. So off would be white and the pink would be on. So I did this with basically every single game that I want a button for. So what you can do is have two frames, one for the off button and one for the on. And then when you're exporting, what you can do is export both of the frames at the same time as a sprite sheet. So copy frame and just turn on the layer that you want to see in that frame. And that's what it's going to look like in the end. In pixel art, when you're exporting, you want to download it as a sprite sheet if there's only two frames. So it's going to look like that. And when we import it, we can basically shift the crop so you only see one side. So you only have to import one sprite sheet instead of two. Let's create a new room for our menu. So right click on room and create a new room, and let's call this main menu. Just like our other rooms, once you're done labeling it, we want to shift it to make sure it's the same ratio as all of our other ones. So 640 by 360. So just like our fighting game, we had an SBR_background. For my main menu, I also wanted a background, so I imported this GIF. And it's very nice, very cute. And good thing with GIF, it automatically imports the frames into GameMaker. So now let's go to background, no sprite, sprites, and choose the correct sprite. And now, let's change our main menu to the origin room, so when we load up our game, that's the first room we see. Remember, we want to change our camera size, so let's enable viewports. Click visible on viewport 0 and change it to 640 by 360. Now I'm importing my new sprite for my Mia's minigame logo. So that's what I'm doing right here. And we're going to rename it to MMG title. So something new is that if you want to place a sprite on the game, you can do that. It'll just ask you if you want to create a new asset layer and just press create. And so now you just have the sprite and it doesn't have to be an object. And there it's visible. So what I did was I imported all of our on and off sprites. So I have one for Maze Madness on and one Maze Madness off. So how you do that is you want to press import and find the sprite you want. So I know that this ratio is 400. So we know that half of that would be just one of the buttons. So let's resize it to 200. Make sure maintain aspect ratio is off and shift it to the left. And as you can see, a preview. And if we want to go to the right, we'll see the other button. So let's do that again. Let's import, go to the width and half it, and shift it over. And now we have all of them. Create 4 objects to be our buttons to lead the player to each game. In each button, we want a mouse enter, and a mouse leave. In mouse enter and in mouse leave, we want to set a new sprite. The default sprite should be the off sprite. When the mouse enters, it should go to the on sprite. When the mouse leaves, it should go back to the off sprite. Do this for each of your buttons. So go to mouse, enter, mouse leave, select the default sprite to off, enter should turn the sprite to the on version, and mouse leave should turn it back to the off sprite. Remember, the fourth button is our mystery game. Now I'm designing the menu screen. I'm placing the objects of the buttons, not the sprites, into our main menu. And I'm just having a placeholder for the mystery game, just to make sure that I have all the games aligned correctly. Look at that animation. So the buttons actually have to do something when we click on them. So let's add a mouse event, so we will actually go to the game that we want to play when we click on it. I made a mistake here. It's actually supposed to be left press, but that's fine. Let's go to room that we desire. So to shooting game means to go to the battle room when we click it. So let's choose level battle 1. Let's go to the fighter button. Let's do left pressed, as I meant to do previously, and now we're going to go to the fighting room. Here's me changing the event. Then in the maze game, again, left pressed for the mouse, and we're going to go to the room, the correct room, the level maze 1. Now let's test it out. Now when you press the buttons, you'll go straight to the room that we want to go to. I am now going to create a new button, so SBR_back MMG logo, to make sure that we can basically exit the game if we would like to. So remember, origin in the middle when doing sprites. You're going to create an object called object_back MMG_logo and attach the sprite. Now this event is going to be when your left mouse is pressed, you're going to go straight back to the main menu. So whenever you're in each of the rooms, you have the chance to go back into the main menu and quit the game. Unlike the MMG logo in the menu screen, we want this to actually be an object, so place it on your instances layer. Now, when you go into each game, you can always exit the game by clicking the MMG logo. You may have noticed when you click on a game, you can see the player, but when you press MMG again, it still appears. So I'm just going to add this destroy instance to the object player so that when we go back from a game, it doesn't appear on the menu screen. So see it there, and we click MMG, it doesn't stay.